Ready, set, go.
Hey, how's it going? Did you hear about the new Paramore album? Probably did. Maybe you have. Maybe you haven't. There's a new one. It's called This Is Why. And I'm a little excited. I'm actually quite excited. I'm very excited for this. I have been waiting for this one about as long as everyone else that is a fan of the band has been waiting, which is exactly 5 years. It's been about 5 years since After Laughter came out, and that was a good album. Not everyone liked that one as much, but I think it was a good album. It was different, but it was a good album. And then they were just gone for 5 years. Hayley Williams made her solo album. That was great in its own way. It wasn't Paramore music, but it was great stuff. The other band members worked on their own stuff. It was fine. It was great. But now they're all back together. And they've made a whole freaking album. And I'm just so eager to get into it. So, yes, new album. That's what we're doing. Paramore, right now, right here. Sit down. Unless you're at like a standing desk, in which case, as you were, I guess. I don't know. Album's called This Is Why. Maybe you've heard the first track. Maybe you've seen the album cover around somewhere. I don't freaking know. I don't know what you've seen. I don't know what you haven't seen. I don't know what you haven't heard. But we will hear some of the same things together right now. Apparently, this album is very much just sort of a recap, a reflection of sorts, an introspection in certain parts on just the silliness of the past few years. Well, that's what we'll call it, the silliness. The past 3 to 4 years, they've been a little silly. They've been a little ridiculous, a little absurd. You know, maybe a bit too much for my tastes. But, you know, the positive side is it's apparently provided plenty of songwriting material, including but not limited to Paramore's songs for writing that they did. The songs written that they did. Yeah, that's what they're covering. State of the world, current affairs, their role in the world as a band, and whatnot. Good stuff. 10 tracks. A total of 37 minutes. So, they're not here to say a whole lot. They're just here to say some things, and they're moving on, which I think is a good way to go. So, you will have to forgive me. First song, the album title track, This Is Why, I have heard. Because at the time that it came out, I wasn't aware that I would be doing album reactions. So I just saw that Paramore had released a new song, and like any reasonable person, I just scrambled to listen to it as soon as possible. All of the other songs I have not heard in their entirety, if at all. I might have heard like a couple seconds of the news, maybe a couple seconds of Comme Ça, but other than that, coming into this with relatively fresh ears. Get your hot, fresh ears right here, right out of the oven. And I'm gonna quit spouting all this preliminary nonsense and start listening to the song. I am gonna go through This Is Why, even though I've heard it many times. But, you know, we've got the lyrics in front of us now, and might be good to go through it that way. So, let's get this done. This is why. So first off, I know I'm cutting things off a little early here and there, just about to get into it. I love that they went back to a harder rock sound. They're not back to like classic Paramore. Like, I don't think they're gonna get back to classic Paramore because it's classic Paramore. You can't go back to the classics because then it's not classic anymore. Yeah, keep moving with whatever new music you feel like making. But they have said in various interviews and things that they wanted to return to rock, whether it's straight punk rock, maybe not necessarily, but at least some. This is technically post-punk in the sense that it's music that they made after having been punk. Whether it sounds like your idea of post-punk is up to you. I'm not gonna sit here and try to define post-punk for you, because trust me, I've tried. It's not worth my time. One of the things that I've noticed, particularly from this song, is that you can really tell some of the melodic stuff that has carried over from Petals for Armor. Like, sort of, she's treating these verses very delicately. Like, she's kind of taking her time with them. She's like, she feels more comfortable in each song. She doesn't feel rushed. There's no unnecessary sense of urgency. She's just sitting down to say some things. And I really like that approach. And it gives you space to build like they're doing here. So I'm gonna, strangely, even though I've heard this song entirely through, maybe that's why I have more thoughts. This song, particularly the chorus, is one of the most, maybe for me, but drummer-friendly choruses, because there's so much happening rhythmically. There's, first off, the guitarist is sort of playing along with the drummer and vice versa, which is always a really cool thing to do. Foo Fighters does that a lot, and that's because their guitarist is a drummer. And yeah, it's very tight and it's very satisfying, and it hits just a little bit harder. But even like the sort of supporting guitar parts are doing their own thing, but it's still very sort of staccato and rhythmic, and there's so many layers of it that I love. This song is such a strong intro for an album, and I really hope they're able to keep it up. And bridges like this would not have happened if they hadn't already made stuff like After Laughter. Regardless of your feelings or thoughts on that album, I don't think it's their best album, but I think it's a good album for what it is. But these sort of like weird, like art rock almost sort of parts are very much sort of a carryover of that sound and of, you know, the stuff that Haley was doing on her own. Now, I don't have the best sense of these things, but I think did they do a key change? It feels like they'd gone like up an octave or maybe up, like it feels like they've upped it somehow melodically. You can tell me yes or no in the comments, but it feels like they may have done a key change here, which is really fun. Oh, and like changing up the melody in that like last part of the chorus, just like keeping it fresh every time. I love this song so much. So much. It's nuts. Let's get into some of these lyrics and some thoughts. Because, you know, Paramore, they're fairly well established in the music world. I would say, I think that's fair to say. There are some thoughts about these songs that people have left and the band has expounded on. So this song particularly explores some of the challenges that Hayley Williams has faced as the frontwoman of a world-famous band, including constant pressure in the public eye and having personal issues broadcast publicly. So, let's take a look at some of these lyrics, which do have annotations, but from that interpretation, let's take a look at some of these things. Verse 1. If you have an opinion, maybe you should shove it. Or maybe you should scream it. Might be best to keep it. Which, when you take that all as one continuous thought, doesn't say much. It's basically like you can, if you have an opinion, which most people do, you can either put it up your butt, or you can scream it loud and proud, or you can just keep it to yourself. Those are kind of the three options. But, you know, saying that maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, maybe you should do this, isn't actually all that helpful. But each of those three things, so if you have an opinion, maybe you should shove it, has its own thought. Maybe you should scream it, has its own thought, and so on. So in an interview, Hayley Williams talked about how shocked she was at how bad people were, or shocked to realize how humans have been unkind to each other even during the pandemic. She says, "You'd think after a global pandemic of fucking biblical proportions and the impending doom of a dying planet, that humans would have found it deep within themselves to be kinder or more empathetic or something. How sad it is that we've gone through this horrible thing globally as humans. Whether it's racism or conspiracy theories, I think about how the internet is supposed to be this great connector, but it drives us further inward and further apart. I've watched people be so awful to each other. How could we go through these things and come out worse? And then I also remarked that she herself has, in fact, left social media, which honestly, good on you, Haley. So yeah, if you have an opinion, maybe you should shove it, because for whatever reason, some people have gone through a time when empathy and kindness and charity have been most necessary, and they've gone through all that and actually become worse people. Not sure how that happens, but I would agree that that has in fact happened in some cases. In some cases, if you've got an opinion, don't. Stop it with that one. Stop it with that particular opinion. Some opinions, loud and proud. We want to hear it. Other opinions, maybe just like keep them on hold for a bit. Maybe let them ferment a bit, brew them a bit. You know, give them time, give them a nice healthy dose of perspective, and then check back in on them in a moment. Chorus, this is why I don't leave the house. You say the coast is clear, but you won't catch me out. Oh, why? Well, this is why. What is why? Is the question that many of us have been asking over the past year. Basically, it's just like you keep looking out your window and you see the awful things happening. Maybe your mental health is having a bad time. Maybe you're just on Twitter and you're just scrolling and you're just like, this is why I don't actually want to interact with humanity, which is a valid point, and I get it, but at a certain point, it's going to be less healthy to just keep isolating yourself, is what I believe. Yes, sometimes you can look out your window and be like, I would rather not participate in humanity. And I get it. Some days you don't have to. Other days, it's nice to have you around. Other days, other people need help, and maybe you've got the help that they need, you know? So, play it by ear, I would say. Bridge is one step beyond your door. It might as well have been a free fall. One step beyond your door, falling down an endless hall. And then at the end, one step beyond your door, and I'm floating like a cannonball, which is a nice misdirection. Yeah, I guess it's just that thing of like, you take one step outside your door and you might as well have just fallen off a cliff. Sometimes is how that goes. Sometimes it goes so badly that just that one step causes things to just go badly. And I get it. I am glad that the rest of this album is out now, because I think this song by itself is not the entire takeaway that Paramore wants people to have. I think this is a good sample for the things that they're tackling in the album, but this is not the conclusion. This is the intro. So I think we should be aware of that. Enough of me gabbering about This Is Why. Let's move on to some of the songs that I have not heard, such as The News. It's time for the news. We love the news, as I was just saying. Oh. So this is so interesting to listen to, because it does feel like a return to form, a a paraform, Paramore's form, in the sense of it's definitely like harder rock, and they're keeping at that, but there's just that element of like musical weirdness to it that kind of is again left over from their explorations of the sort of weirder pop rock side from After Laughter. Just those weird, like, kind of off guitar parts are a new element in their music, and I appreciate it very much. It's also just really nice to hear Hayley Williams returning to that sort of gusto that she has in the band's music. It's been cool to hear her like tap into the more like vulnerable, gentler side in Petals for Armor. But this is a refreshing return. Ooh. Was that a wood block or a cowbell? It sounded like a wood block, but I like it. I like that little extra little exactly. This is something that they did in the last song as well, where they're changing the lengths of the pre-choruses. In both this and This Is Why, the first pre-chorus was only a couple lines, and then in the second pre-chorus they double it to give it more space to build it even more. And they're doing it again. So cool. It's a nice trick. It helps. Keeps things interesting and engaging. What are we doing for the bridge? Ooh. We're talking? Are we gonna start screaming?
All along we called it normal.
Okay. I want to hear Hayley scream in this album. That's what I want to hear. I don't know what it's gonna sound like. That's why I want to hear it, because I think it'd be good. Nice. She's hitting those high notes though. Ooh. That's cool. That's a good punchy one. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm feeling good about this. That's good. Okay. Nice. Okay, let's take a look at these lyrics. Verse 1. War. A war on the far side, on the other side of the planet. And I've got a war right behind my eyes. Right behind them, just like a headache. So I turn on the news and turn off the news. And this chorus is, every second our collective heart breaks, altogether every single head shakes. Shut your eyes, but it won't go away. Turn on, turn off the news. The bridge, they're saying a lot of big words here, so follow along with me, kids. Exploitative, performative, informative, and we don't know the half of it. Rhetorical, deplorable, historical, and all along we called it normal. And then they repeat that. So, as they say in the little about here thing, this song gives a little bit more context to This Is Why. This being sort of Paramore is getting political. And for all of you people complaining whenever literally any part of entertainment becomes political, I believe the one line from This Is Why, I believe that applies. If you've got an opinion, I think you know what to do. Meanwhile, it feels like the song is kind of just about the way that those of us on social media, which, again, good on Haley for cutting ties with that. The song seems to be just about how the news and how we interact with it in 21st century North America, especially in social media, particularly Twitter and Facebook a little bit, but mostly Twitter. The whole thing of like, but I worry and I give money and I feel useless behind this computer, and that's just barely scratched the surface of my mind. A feeling of like helplessness and unhelpfulness, that like we can sit here and we can tweet our sport and tweet our good takes or our bad takes, or tweet our information, or just post whatever we want to post, and it doesn't feel like any of it helps, right? Maybe some of it does. Like if you're a journalist, maybe it's important to get that information out there. I'm not denying that. But so much of, people's general role in all of that is we feel obligated to have thoughts on whatever is happening, whether we should or shouldn't, but we feel compelled to have a take. And sometimes we don't have one. Sometimes we shouldn't have one. And sometimes we have one, and it's good to have a take, but maybe it's not the time to say it. Maybe you just have a bad take and you shouldn't say it. And we're hearing all these big words like exploitative, performative, rhetorical, deplorable. And we're just saying these things, maybe not even knowing what they mean or what the history is. We don't know the half of it, but we're just hearing about it now, and we're getting anxious about it from our comfortable, iPhone screens. And that's just a near universal experience for so many of us, is to just sit and observe this awful information coming in, and we don't know what to say about it or how to feel about it, but we know it's bad. So I am glad that this was sort of the second song to come out, because it does provide some context to This Is Why, to kind of lend that backdrop to why we are feeling what we're feeling. But for now, we're gonna keep on going to Running Out of Time. Oh. What?
Said I was gonna take
What?
some flowers to my neighbor, but I ran out of time.
Okay.
Didn't wanna show up to the party empty-handed, but I ran out of time. Said I walked the dog a little further than the driveway tonight, the extra mile. Thought I sent a card with
Okay. True.
What if I'm just a selfish prick? No regard.
Ooh.
I'm always running out of time.
Okay.
I'm always running out of time. Never mind, I hit the
Okay, so first off, that little squeak scream at the end of the pre-chorus, that's good. I like what I'm hearing, and I want to hear more. Second, that chorus goes. That was a similar like rhythmic like variety that they have in This Is Why. And I can't get enough of it. It's so good. Ooh. Nice.
intentions only get you so
Yeah.
a harsh reality.
I think I'm latching on to what the song is about, and I really appreciate it. But we'll get to it in a moment here. Nice. Oh, nice dropout. Nice. Very nice. That was fun. That's a nice having kind of gotten a sense of what the song is about. It's a nice break from the heaviness of the lyrics from the other one. But that was so much fun. Great. Okay. Yeah, about Hayley Williams pokes fun at her poor time management skills. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is just, I guess, Hayley Williams just giving herself shit for never being on time. Which, you know what? I get it. Sometimes I doubt that she is a full-on selfish prick, as she claims in the one pre-chorus. But it is something that you need to hold yourself accountable for. Hayley Williams giving herself a little shit and being like, hey, this is a bad habit. I should work on it. And yeah, if you are someone that has trouble with time management, which I also sometimes do have, you should probably work on it. Doesn't mean you're a terrible person, but it would be good to work on it. From one comrade to another, we should work on this. Yeah, great. That was so much fun. We're gonna move right along to C'est Comme Ça, which I do not remember what that means in French. Let's just quickly... Right, yes. It means it is what it is, basically. It's a sort of vernacular phrase. Basically just says it is what it is. I have heard that does sound familiar. That guitar riff does sound familiar, but I have not heard most of this song.
In a single year, I've aged 100. My social life, a chiropractic appointment. Sit still long enough to listen to yourself.
Were they like Are they like taking inspiration from like Monster Mash for this? I really hope that that was kind of their reference point, because I love that they just took a song to be like, yeah, Haley's gonna be more like talk singing than anything, and then we just have the chorus, which is literally just "C'est comme ça, na 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 na." That's yeah, lovely, great.
Maybe just long enough for you to atrophy to hell.
Ooh.
I'm off caffeine on doctor's orders.
Oh.
Said it was gonna help to level out my hormones.
Is that so?
For me, I run on spite and sweet revenge. It's
Nice.
my dependence on the friction that really hinders my progression.
Wow.
That regression
Oh.
is rarely rewarded. I still need a certain degree of disorder. C'est comme ça, na 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 na. The high cost of chaos, who can afford it? C'est
Ooh.
comme ça, na 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 na.
Ooh.
C'est comme ça, na na na.
That's what I'm talking about. These little like rhythmic variances that are keeping you for a second there. I was about to start tuning out, and then they did that little snare fill, rope me right back in.
C'est comme ça, c'est comme ça, na 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 na. C'est comme ça, c'est comme ça, na 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 na. C'est comme ça, na 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 na.
They're also doing a fun thing that I think more people need to do more often, which is just wait like just a half beat to start your chorus. Like just start it on the off beat, you know? You just wait it just a second, and then it gets so much it'll really impress people if you just like wait like a half beat later. But do it on purpose. Don't just like miss your cue. Like do it on purpose to just kind of give it that weird upstart. And it'll make a huge difference. It'll be real fun.
C'est comme ça, c'est comme ça, na 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 na. C'est comme ça, c'est comme ça, na 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 na. C'est comme ça, c'est comme ça, na 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 na.
Cool. Good stuff. Oh, jeez. Hold on there. So apparently this song is kind of coupled with running out of time, in the sense of she's always running out of time. It is what it is. But also obviously it sits on its own as its own thing. But she does seem to have a bit of the lyrics seem to be written a little bit as kind of a response to running out of time. Like the bridge, I know that regression is rarely rewarded. I still need a certain degree of disorder. I hate to admit getting better is boring, but the high cost of chaos, who can afford it? So that's kind of that back and forth of like, you know, not being like sort of settling into your flaws is not gonna pay off. It's just not gonna be worth your time. But you know, maybe you are the kind of person that needs to keep yourself on your toes, which ends up with you being late all the time. And getting better is boring. Sometimes becoming a better person doesn't feel all that rewarding. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like the opposite of that. But the fact is that, you know, things like being late, especially if you're consistently late, will make a difference, and you cannot know that you can afford that difference. So, you know, it is what it is. We're gonna move on to Big Man, Little Dignity, which interested to see if there's a specific like subject for this, or what exactly they're talking about with big man, little dignity? Let's find out. What is that instrument? Is that like a bass clarinet or something? Is that a saxophone? It's not a saxophone. It sounds like a woodwind. Maybe it's a bass clarinet. Oh. Okay.
Oh, I look at you. Don't you clean up nice? Bet it feels good to leave the past behind. Your subscription to redemption has been renewed. You keep your head high, smooth operator in the shit-stained suit.
I like that line. Ooh. Hello, like auto-tuned or keyboard or whatever that is. That's pretty. Oh no, that was a flute, not auto-tune. Unless they auto-tuned the flute, which, you know, if that's the effect you're going for, go right ahead. We love a flute solo, though. If you ask me anything about the changes that need to happen in punk and post-punk music, I will tell you every time it needs more flute solos. But you know, waiting on the world to change. Great, that was cool. Didn't feel as strongly about it. I was just kind of sitting there vibing, which is why I don't have too many thoughts on it. Seems to be, according to the About thing, the song is about men who are not held accountable for their actions, which is kind of explains pretty much everything. It makes things pretty straightforward. Big man, little dignity. Not much to get into there. Verse 2. Well, look at you. Don't you clean up nice? But it feels good to leave the past behind. Your subscription to redemption has been renewed. You keep your head high, smooth operator in a shit-stained suit. So it's literally just a sort of a sarcastic call out, which I'm a fan of. Well earned and well executed. Not my favorite track on the album, not because of the lyrics, but just because, you know, there wasn't. It was a more chill song, so I was just kind of sitting here vibing, and it wasn't much for me to get super excited about, but good song. Okay, we are halfway through the album, so we are moving on to track 6, called You First. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing first, but I'll see what I can do. Try and, you know, lead by example, but I'm not sure what kind of example I'm supposed to lead by. Let's find out, I guess. Whoa. What? That's alarming. I'm a little stressed out immediately. I'm immediately a little bit stressed out. I've been liking the weirdness up until this point, and I still like it. It's still a cool choice, but I am a little startled. I was not aware that that was how that guitar riff was gonna sit rhythmically, but that's cool. I like that they're going for this up-tempo choice. Reminds me a little bit of Viagra Boys. A little bit. If you've not listened to them, you should, and if you've not heard of them and you like this album, you should definitely check out the Viagra Boys. Ooh. Alright. Ooh. Nice. Nice. That felt like a classic Paramore chorus. Like just something about the melody and like just reminded me a lot of like sort of Riot, Brand New Eyes era choruses. Ooh. That's a little filthy. That's a little nasty.
Never said I wasn't petty. Never said I wasn't petty.
I never
Said I wasn't petty. You can
I never said you were.
petty for a second. It's a pleasure. It's a regret. Never said I wasn't petty. I'll do better when you're better. Let me revel in your defeat.
Ooh.
Everyone is a bad guy, and there's no way to know who's worse. Karma's gonna come for all of us, and I hope, I just hope she comes for you first. Oh.
Nice. Cool. That was fun. Well, so far, it's nice to see that we are not dealing with a front-loaded album. Seems pretty evenly distributed with distributed with the goodness, the good stuff. I got it all spread around, which is what you gotta do. Okay. This song, they literally say in verse 2 which wolf wins. So they're going the route of there are two wolves inside you. And then you gotta decide which one you feed and whatnot. Yeah, doing the whole thing of like everybody has the choice between good and evil, you know? Not everyone's just, one or the other. Sometimes you're a little mix of both, you're a little like ice cream, vanilla chocolate swirl of good and evil, nice little ethical ice cream cone. If you will, and I think I will. Great. What do we got for lyrics? Chorus, everyone is a bad guy. And there's no way to know who's the worst. But karma's gonna come for all of us. And I just hope that she comes for you first. I hope you guys enjoy these like semi-dramatic readings of song lyrics, because I have a good time doing my own readings of them in my own voice. Yeah, so we got that. We got the pre-chorus, which is just like a stray animal. I keep feeding scraps. I give it my energy, and it keeps on coming back. So yeah, just like deciding what kind of person you want to be as you go, you can, just because you think you're a good person, doesn't keep you from making bad or hurtful decisions. And inversely, just because you don't think much of yourself doesn't mean that you don't do good things. It's both. Both vice versa. Reversed. Nice. Yeah, good stuff. Very true. Cool. Moving on to figure 8. Maybe they're referring to infinity. Maybe they're referring to a nice little bit of skating, making a nice figure 8. Maybe they're just talking about the number 8. Who knows? Ooh. Whoa. What? That wind instrument is back. It's really making itself known in this back half. And no problems with it. What is that? Also, what is...
Drain me dry down to the last drop. Pearls before swine, all flowers die. Tap the last good vein, don't know how to shut it off. Yeah, once you get me going,
Oh.
I don't know how to stop. Once you get me going,
Oh.
I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to. All for your sake became the very thing that I hate. I lost my way,
Ooh.
spinning in an endless figure 8.
Okay, she's spinning in a figure 8. Okay, we figured that out. Great. Keep moving.
I won't miss the feeling. My flimsy
I love what they're doing with the timing here. It's a very strange rhythm, but I'm into it. It's very groovy.
became the very thing that I hate. I lost my way, spinning in an endless figure 8.
Okay. What are they doing with the bridge?
Candlelight, burning till broad daylight.
One thing I would like to hear before the end of the album here, so they've got a few songs left to make this happen, is they've been using the bridge generally to kind of drop down, which is fine. That's what a lot of people use it for. But I would love to hear them use the bridge to just pull out some completely crazy like guitar riff and just go really hard. Maybe a halftime drop. Maybe you could make me really happy and have like a triplet halftime drop. You know, I'm not saying that's exactly what I need, but you know how I am with halftime drops and triplets. Either one or both makes me happy. But yeah, I would love to hear them like go really big for a bridge. I think that would be a nice change from what they've been doing so far. But so far I'm happy. What were they shaking there? Oh. Oh, I love those hits. Oh, we're pulling some noise. I like that they ended it with some weird guitar shit. We love it in this house. Cool. There was a lot of great stuff in there. Very, like, just started out weird. Got really cool near the end. Good stuff all around. Okay, what are we looking at? Lyrics here. Haley sings about how she bent over backwards for the person she was referring to in this song. It is very possible that Haley is referring to her ex-husband on this song. They divorced in 2017 due to infidelity. It'll get you. Comes around the corner and you're not ready for it. Williams would also go on to mention that the After Laughter album cycle was incredibly rough for her mentally and emotionally. That's too bad. Sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. But glad she was able to make a good song out of it. That always helps after a certain amount of time. So yeah, I guess this is just a song about, you know, having a bad time because of a relationship and becoming someone that you didn't want to be, which even within the albums that we've listened to on this channel, it's a pretty common theme. Happens more often than it should, but yeah, it's happens enough times that chances are, if it's happened to you, you can probably find solace and company in someone else that it has also happened to. So that's nice. Chorus, we got all for your sake became the very thing that I hate. I lost my way, spinning in an endless figure 8. Which I think is really all you need to know. Just like throw everything into a relationship, which is going to happen if it's a marriage. You know, that's not something that falls apart neatly. But sometimes, you know, enough time can pass and gradual changes can happen that you don't realize until you're too late that you're someone you don't want to be. But the nice thing about realizing that you're someone that you don't want to be is as soon as you make that realization, you can start, you know, coming back around, making some changes. Maybe making some painful changes, but maybe they're necessary. So, cool. That was nice. My expert opinion on that song, it was nice. We're moving on to Liar, which is a strong word to put as the title of a whole song. Let's see how we feel about this Liar. Ooh. Getting a little picky fingers.
What was the moment? It's hard to say. I'm sure I don't remember anyway. Before I only knew to hesitate, pinned back in the grenade, and all the ways I keep you safe from me.
Whoa. Plot twist. It seems as though Haley was in fact the liar. So let's just keep that in mind as we continue on.
And all my love, I lied to you, but I never needed to. Oh, my love, I lied to you, but you always knew the truth.
Those are some really nice harmonies. I'm enjoying this. This is again another like chill song. So I'm not gonna be like super excited about it, but I like this a lot. Like knowing what it's about, because I saw a little bit of a blurb. So I'll let you in on the secret at the end here. But it's just interesting to hear this song unfold. Oh, there's that wind instrument again, whether it's a flute or whatever. But they're sneaking in these little tooty toots, and they think I don't notice, but I'm noticing the tooty toots. It's good. Can't sneak any tooty toots past me. Nice. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna get right into the lyrics of this song. Starting off with the little about blurb here. The song is about Haley's denial for falling in love with fellow band member and now partner Taylor York, and fighting her feelings because she thought she was wrong to feel them. She said in an interview, when something has ease to it, and when something feels healthy and again like respectful, it must be wrong. And I fought that feeling and said to myself that that's just a convenient thing. You're just trying to go to where maybe your ego likes it. I just made up anything that I could. So this is such an interesting song. That's such a fascinating premise to write a song on, is this like confrontation of yourself withholding yourself from this thing, because if it's good, why, if it has all of these good things, it's too good to be true. It can't actually be the right thing to have, right? Maybe it's not even necessarily a thing of like you don't deserve nice things, although maybe that's like kind of the root of it. But just like letting yourself have good things and being willing to confront the fact that this is something that's been happening and that is happening, and like kind of forcing yourself to reckon with that. This is it's a very like sad and sweet song, because the chorus is, "Oh my love, I lied to you, but I never needed to. Oh my love, I lied to you, but you always knew the truth." So it's like kind of an apology that she didn't like confess her feelings sooner. That she like spent all this time trying to like just in denial about these things. The bridge puts it out most straightforwardly. Love is not an easy thing to admit, but I'm not ashamed of it. Love is not a weakening if you feel it rushing in. Don't be ashamed of it. Yeah, you're not a bad person for having these feelings. Don't be ashamed for feeling close to someone. Obviously, like, if you're feeling those feelings while you're in a relationship with someone else, then that is something that you need to confront and be like, you know, kind of take stock of where you are and who you want to be with. And if that's a conversation that you need to have, it's not going to be an easy one. There's no way to make that a pleasant conversation, but that doesn't make it any less necessary. So, yeah, that was good. That was a really good song. Again, just because it's not like jumping at you. It's more vulnerable where I think it's really good that way. But I only have so many things to say because I think the song said it all. Yeah, we're gonna move on to Crave, track number 9. Ooh. Okay.
I can't wait to memorize this day. Oh, a picture cannot contain the way it feels. I know the feeling will come to an end, so I
Ooh.
do it again, all again.
Nice.
Do it again, just for a second. It all felt simple. I'm already missing it, so I crave to do it again, all again. Do it again, all again.
Ooh. I love those hits.
Second, feel the present. Second, feel the present, future, and the past connected.
Ooh. You're gonna leave a note like that far back and that quiet? Man, just gonna drop that on me? Okay.
Do it again, all again.
Cool. That's I don't have a whole lot of feelings. I didn't find anything like, I don't know, that one didn't really grab me. Says this is a song about nostalgia, which I get. Yeah, but let's take a look at these lyrics. I like verse 2 here. I romanticize even the worst of times when all it took to make me cry was being alive. Look up and see a reflection of someone who never gave way to the pain. What if I told them that now that I'm older, there isn't a moment that I'd want to change? So it's almost this like, well, it's not reverse nostalgia, but it is like, it's nostalgia for, like, that says that times weren't as bad as you maybe remembered them. Like if you think of a certain time in your life when that, for the most part, just sits in your mind as just being really bad and you just hated your life, maybe it was better than you think. Maybe there was some good to be found in that. Maybe it wasn't as dark as you remember, which is good. It's good to take stock of that. All right, we got one more song. Thick Skull. I'm ready for this one to hit hard. I'm looking forward to it. How are you gonna end this one, guys?
I am a magnet for broken pieces.
Okay.
I am attracted to broken people.
Get in line.
I pick 'em up and now my fingers are bleeding and it looks like my fault. And it looks like I'm caught red-handed.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay, we're keeping it slow, which is I'm a little sad about that. Maybe they go big later, but I like the I like the trudginess of it. I like it. It sounds dark, which I appreciate.
What's the body count up to? Now, Captain. Epiphany over my head.
Ooh.
Think school never did.
The drummer's going ham here. I've heard the drummer go a little bit more ham before, but they're doing well.
Say lesson again. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Oh. Nice. Good solo.
Come on out with your hands up.
Well, this is the final. This is the bridge of the final song. So I'm sad to say that they have not used a bridge to go big. So points off for that, but I like what I'm hearing.
Come on out with your hands up.
Ooh.
Head over the head. Over my head.
Oh.
Think school never did. Same lesson again. I pick 'em up and now my fingers are bleeding and it looks like I'm caught red-handed.
Ooh. Interesting way to end. Okay, I liked that. I'm glad that they went real big on that chorus. They were really trying to leave it on a bang, which is good. So about this song, apparently this was the first song they wrote for the album, which is interesting considering sort of the musical style of most of the album being much more like quick and punchy. It had these shades of a few different eras of us being music fans, loving heavy, droney, almost shoegazy moments, says Williams. And she said, I was like, man, this sounds like a band I would love. It was good. That is what the kind of music that you want to make. You want to be the kind of band that if you were not in the band, you would love them, right? You want to be your own biggest fan. I think that's a necessary thing for anyone making creative stuff. The last song, she says, the last song of the album is reflective of my biggest insecurities throughout our career. The shit people projected onto me all these years saying the band is manufactured or that I'm using my friends for my own personal career advances. I decided to speak directly to those fears, even indulging the naysayers. This being the last album of this era of our career, as part of the same contract I signed as a teen. Damn, I just want to leave all those fears and the bullshit here, and I'm not taking it with me any further. So that, interesting. I wonder kind of what their plans are going forward as a band. Crazy that they've been on the same contract since the beginning. That is nuts. Wow. Okay. But yeah, those feelings of self-blame, so outro versus being I pick them up and now my fingers are bleeding and it looks like I'm caught red-handed. The chorus is hit over the head, epiphany over my head repeatedly. Thick skull never did nothing for me. Same lesson again. Come on, give it to me. So yeah, just think of like, I know what people have been saying. They've been hitting it over my head for the past decade and a half or so. So let's just put those things to rest here and now before we end, which I very much respect that. Wow. And that is the end of This Is Why. I liked it. It has not. It's not my favorite Paramore album. The title for that still goes to their self-titled album. I liked what they did, and I like where they're going. I think this is an album made by a very experienced band that wanted to try some new things, but also return to some of the stuff that they know that they're good at. And there is a lot of that in this. It's a really, really fun album for the most part. Yeah, a lot of these songs I was just bopping along to. Great stuff. Yeah, cool. And that brings an end to the video here. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have your own thoughts about this album, Paramore is a relatively popular band. So if you are a fan and you have your own opinions on this album, maybe you should shove it. No, you can put them in the comments. And yeah, I would say recommend other albums of theirs that I should listen to, but I've literally listened to almost all their albums. I think the only one that I've not listened all the way through is yes, All We Know Is Falling, which I guess is their first album. That one I'm not as familiar with, but I have listened to some of it, and then all of their other albums I've listened to and like very much. But Paramore, like the self-titled album, is still my personal fave. So yeah, if you have other Paramore-esque albums for me to check out, definitely leave those in the comments. Yeah. If you want to support the channel in one or more ways, easiest way is by liking the video. Helps me out in the algorithm. Commenting also does a little piece of that. You can subscribe so that you see more of my stuff. You can ring the bell so that you get notified of when I've made something new and put it up. If you want to help out monetarily with that cold cash, I've got a link to my new Ko-fi or Ko-fi coffee account down in the description. You can send me a few bucks. If I get enough coming in from that, I might start making some exclusive content for there. Sort of a Patreon sort of thing. If you want merch, I have that over at streamlabs.com/talllankyguy/merch. Check out all of those things. And yeah, until next time, thanks so much. I'll see you later.